And what we're doing is we're building a system that over the course of the year, using the net metering programs, generates all or as much as possible of your electricity as possible. Hey everyone, Angel True, Photon Heroes Solar. Stop letting power bills steal your future. At Photon Heroes, we come with a very simple philosophy. We're here to bring our honesty, our integrity, our empathy, and our experience to make sure that we are serving you to the best of our ability. Now, today I want to talk about the top 7 most common misconceptions people have about solar and sort of break down some of the myths, give you some of the reality checks that might help you understand this, and of course lay out the truth for you as simply as I can. So let's dive right in. First one, the most common one, I hear this all the time and it kind of cracks me up. Solar is expensive. And it's important to understand what we're talking about when we say that, because 99.9% of the time, it's not a true statement. It's actually a ton cheaper to go solar. So 2 big ways that I like to compare solar. The first is the kilowatt hour charge. And a kilowatt hour is simply a unit of electricity that we measure the consumption of electricity in for billing purposes and production purposes. So right now in the US, power rates per kilowatt hour range from about 12 to 13 cents per kilowatt hour in some jurisdictions to upwards of 35 plus cents per kilowatt hour in some of the California markets. That is a ridiculous rate. And these rates are going up about 6% a year on average, but in some markets we're seeing rate increases of 12, 13, 15, 20% annual rate increases. So it's important that you understand what that context is. So compare that 12, 13, let's call it 15 cents a kilowatt hour with solar over the life of the system. Usually we're talking about 11, 12, sometimes 15 cents a kilowatt hour for the cost of electricity over the life of the system. Now that electric rate is only today. And in some markets, that rate has doubled in just the last few years. So that rate continues to go up, whereas that solar rate is an average number for the life of the system and all the electricity you're going to generate. So you have one number that's going up and one that's staying the same. Which one is more expensive? You look at it, you're going to spend $100,000 plus on electricity without solar, or you're going to pay substantially less with solar. The second way to look at it is on just a monthly payment basis. So let's say you have an electric bill of $150, and with a lease or a power purchase agreement, I can often show you a payment of $130, sometimes even $120 on a comparable system. And again, a lot of this depends, so I'm just sort of ballparking some numbers here. On a monthly basis with a lease or a power purchase agreement, you can save $20, $30, sometimes even $40 a month right up front. And as that electric bill keeps going up, that lease payment has very small or sometimes no incremental increase. It'll never catch up with the rate of electricity. So it's also less expensive that way. And those are 2 of the ways that I like to talk about how solar is substantially less expensive than continuing to pay for electricity from the utility. Solar panels are free is our next big misconception. And that's because there's a ton of just terrible advertising out there that talk about government programs and paying for your bills. And they use very subtle language. They say no upfront cost or no money out of pocket. And those statements are true in a lot of cases. But when they talk about free, what they're usually hinting at is leases or power purchase agreements which have no debt associated with it. You're just leasing the equipment or purchasing the electricity at a radically reduced rate. But even if we're talking about cash or finance purposes, obviously it's not free. There are great programs out there. Everyone is eligible for the 30% federal tax credit, and some states have solar renewable energy credits that can add another 30, 40, I've seen some even 50%, lowering the cost of the system, which can be a tremendous cost savings. Okay, moving on. Number 3, solar panels don't work when it's cloudy. Reality is it couldn't be further from the truth. If the sun is up, your solar system is generating electricity. It's quite simply that easy. So let's understand how it works. Solar power is generated, the electricity is generated by UV radiation. And that is what gives you a sunburn on a sunny day. And if you've ever been at a high elevation, you can actually get a sunburn on a cloudy day with sunblock on. Believe me, I've done this. It was a hard lesson. But solar will work in a storm, in the rain. It won't work when the sun is down. So as long as the sun is up, you're generating electricity. It's a question of how much. On a bright, clear, sunny summer afternoon, you're generating a ton of electricity. Because the sun is high, you have tons of light hitting. In the wintertime, the sun is a lot lower, it's cloudy or rainy, there's less UV radiation coming in, you're still generating electricity, just not as much. And what we're doing is we're building a system that over the course of the year, using the net metering programs, generates all or as much as possible of your electricity as possible. And net metering, that's another video, but very briefly, it's where you send electricity back to the grid, you get credit on your account that you use to purchase that electricity at night or on those winter days when you're not generating enough electricity. All right, moving forward, it's hard to sell your home with solar. All right, the data says exactly the opposite. There are tons of studies out there that have been conducted over the last 30 years when solar was actually more expensive, a lot more expensive than it is today. And what all of the data shows is this: you will sell your home faster and for more money than a comparable home without solar. And the way that works is people who want solar are looking at your house first and the neighbor's house second, the one without solar. They're going to choose yours first. The second thing is people who are environmentally minded or cost-saving minded understand what they're purchasing. And it's very easy to show them. You show them your power bills that have little or no cost associated to it. You show them how much electricity your system is producing and that it's producing $6,000 or whatever worth of electricity every year. And then that number keeps going up every time those rates increase. And very quickly people see that buying the home with solar is a great idea. They understand the premium they're paying and they're ready, willing, and able to do it. All right, number 5, solar panels will damage my roof. Now, you have heard the horror stories, companies that come in, sell a bunch of solar, slap it on the roof, do a bad job of it, tear a roof up, and disappear or go out of business. And the reality is that happens. But when properly installed, solar will actually make your roof last longer. I have spoken with a number of installation crews, and they have told me the same thing. Based on the way the equipment is designed, and there's different mounting brackets, and depends on the roof type, it's designed to prevent water from penetrating the roof. They also seal it up as they go. Again, the short answer is installed properly, you're never going to have a problem. Now, it is important that you work with a reputable company that is established, preferably one that is local, or even those national chains that use local installation crews. Make sure they also have proper insurance and proper licensing. These are important things, that they have longevity. Now, every system I sell, or most systems I sell, have a 30-year warranty on it, an extended warranty that actually covers roof leaks anytime in that 30-year period. So that is something that's important to ask about, is if there is, on that off chance something happens, is it covered under the warranty? The answer with me, typically, most of my systems, is yes. All right. Number 6, I will just have 2 bills. This is a common misconception because every utility has what's called a basic service charge or a delivery charge. They call it different things that we can't get rid of because it's basically the privilege of having electricity served to your house, which you still need with solar. Now, again, I said this earlier, our objective is to eliminate as much of that as possible and do a bill swap with a payment on the system, whether it's a lease or power purchase agreement, finance package. If you pay cash, obviously there's no payment at all. So what you will have is a small amount left on your electric utility bill, and then you'll have a payment on the system. And any reputable solar rep is going to make sure that you understand what that total cost is. And that's something I always make sure to cover, and everyone on my team will make sure to cover with you as well, so that you fully understand what you're looking at. All right, and the last one, solar doesn't work for my house. My favorite was when someone told me this, and I said, how long ago did you look at solar? And he said, well, it was like, 8 years ago. And I just kind of laughed. I said, well, I haven't even been in the industry that long, and I've seen the prices come down pretty radically. So 8 years ago is not an accurate assessment. Here's what we're looking for. We like to put panels first on the south-facing roof and then on the east and west-facing roofs. In rare circumstances, we can put them on the north-facing roof, but we try and avoid that because they're not as productive. In some areas, that's just a no-go, but when we're in the southern U.S., sometimes that's an option. What we also want to look at is what shading or other obstructions you have around your house. And ultimately, the question is, can I get enough panels on your roof, and can they get enough sunlight to make a difference in your electric bill? Even if we're only eliminating half of your electric bill, that's still a cost savings for you. So, doesn't work for my house, common misconception. How long ago did you look at it? Did you actually have a solar representative who is skilled and knowledgeable about what they're looking at? And I'll tell you right up front, I have spoken to people where I've looked at their house on a satellite image and I've told them straight up, you're covered in trees. It's not even worth your time to look at it. I can tell you right now, it's not going to make sense. If you really want to look at it, we can take a look at it, but I'm very, very unlikely to want to sell you this system because it doesn't make sense. And it's important to me that you're getting value out of the system. So work with a skilled rep, make sure that you have looked at it recently. My pricing is often a lot lower than some of the local competitors, and I can show you a system that works well when sometimes others can't. So there we go. Top 7 solar misconceptions. There is some truth to some of this. What I'll also add is most homes in the US are well qualified for solar, but it's not the right choice for everybody. So here's what we do next. There's a link in the description here to sign up for a free, no obligation consultation. We'll get a copy of your power bill that lets my team put together a professional proposal. We'll show you all the numbers, and we'll sit down, we'll talk about cash, finance, lease, power purchase agreement, what the right choice is for you. I want to understand what your needs and objectives are, and we'll come to an answer that says, if we're going to do it, here's the option that makes the most sense. What do you think? That's it. So take a look at that link in the description at the bottom, fill it out. Me or my team will reach out to you, and we'll sit down and we'll make this assessment for you. It's as simple as that. Looking forward to working with you. Have a great day.